They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
Steph Curry overtaking LeBron James as the basketball icon of this generation. As great as LeBron James is, and the man is a legend, don't get it wrong. He's on basketball's Mount Rushmore, for crying out loud. But if Steph Curry and the Warriors win the title this season, Steph will have as many rings as LeBron James. If he's changed the way basketball is played at every level with the rise of the long-range three-point shooting, then maybe it's not LeBron's legacy we should be comparing to the GOAT. Maybe we should instead be discussing Steph Curry versus Michael Jordan.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Hustle Hoops. This is the home of the Hustle Hoops podcast. I think the conversation of Steph versus LeBron is not even one that should be had. Number one, I just wanted to start off and talk about how it's crazy to me how Stephen A talks about, on First Take today when JJ Redick, when him were going back and forth about it, he's saying, I'm just talking about this generation. I'm not talking about career. But then he proceeds to put on December 10th, he puts up a list of their career accomplishments. But you weren't talking about career, right? You weren't talking about all time, just talking about this generation. I think that's a little bit redundant. I think that's a little bit funny. It's contradictory, actually. But anyway, let's just move on. And then he's talking about how, we're not talking about career. We're just talking about this generation. Why are you bringing up Michael Jordan? Because Michael Jordan has nothing to do with this generation. So that's already contradictory in and of itself. But I do think because you want to bring up career, and because you do want to bring up Michael Jordan, let's just put that to rest right now. Sorry, LeBron is closer to MJ than Steph. No, Steph, MJ should never even be a conversation. Steph hasn't even passed other all-time greats like Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Bird, Duncan. He hasn't even eclipsed them all-time rankings. So let's just cut that all out. Shaq even. Let's cut that out. Let's not put Steph up there with MJ. He has nowhere even being close to MJ. Now, if we're talking about this generation, we can have a little bit of a conversation. I do feel like of the 2010s decade, we can have a conversation. The gap between Bron and Steph is very close. We know Bron has been to almost every finals appearance in this generation. I'm talking about the 2010s, obviously. I think we need to set those parameters as the 2010s decade, because they're talking about, Stephen A's talking about, if the Warriors win a championship this year, well, that's pushing into the next generation. That's pushing into the 2020s generation. We're talking about the 2010s generation. Bron has four finals appearances, 4 finals MVPs. We know Steph has the 3 championships or whatever. In that time frame, the 2010s decade, where both of them were at the peak of their powers, I think I'm still going to give LeBron the edge, though. That's the thing. And I think it's a little bit close. It's a little bit, I give Steph his credit. I've told some of my friends that, yes, Steph is the only person that we've seen to consistently beat LeBron James in the finals. But then you have to also take into consideration that Steph did have KD on his team for 2 of those rings. And so it's kind of like back and forth here or there. I don't know. I personally, and I think I know LeBron is the best player of this 2010 generation. We already know what he's done. Like I said, 8 appearances in 8 appearances in a row. He was battling with Tim Duncan and then beating them up. He beat a young KD. He came back from 3-1. I don't need to talk about the historical things that LeBron has done. We all know what LeBron has done. And I'm giving Steph his credit. I know he did in 2016, 2015, back-to-back MVPs, unanimous MVP, 402 threes in a season. I know about all his shots, all his stuff. He had the 3-point record at one point before Clay came and broke it. I know he's about to break Ray Allen today. I understand all that. But I don't think that's right enough to put him above LeBron. Stephen A is talking about, he's the greatest shooter. He's been the catalyst behind the 3-point revolution. Yes, I understand he has. But LeBron has been the best player. Steph has always been the best shooter. Steph will always be the best shooter. And he has been the catalyst and the pushing, the force behind the 3-point revolution. But LeBron has always been the best. It's just that simple. I think the conversation between Steph, it shouldn't be Steph and KD for this generation. It shouldn't be Steph and LeBron for this generation. Instead, it should be Stephen Curry versus Kevin Durant. I think that has a bigger context. That has a bigger comparability. Because Steph and KD, Steph had 1 ring without KD, but then KD comes and he gives Steph his 2 rings. Potentially, a lot of people are saying that's the only reason the Warriors won those rings is because of KD. Steph has those two MVPs. KD only has 1. Steph has a couple scoring titles. KD has more. You can go back and forth more on Steph and KD. Their primes kind of hit at the same time. Steph and KD did. That is a bigger conversation. That's a better conversation to have. Steph versus KD. Let's not get it twisted. Let's not get it confused with recency bias. Just because we know Steph is doing this, that, and the third now, that in the overall of the 2010s decade, it wasn't Bron. Bron has been killing the entire 2010s decade. It hasn't just been like Steph. Steph just started going crazy in 2015. 5 years already in. Bron came into the 2010s as the best player in the world. And he has been the best player in the world up until 2019, in my opinion. The conversation is Steph versus KD, not Steph versus Bron. Don't get it twisted. I love Stephen Curry, but no, I can't give it to him as the best player of this generation. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. And he surely has no business being in conversation with Michael Jordan. And we're talking about anything about MJ. Do not bring Steph Curry in it. Stop, Stephen A. I love Stephen Curry. I love you. But nah, bro, I can't agree with that take. I think that's outlandish.